I'm in a Cold War kind of mood today. So if you're studying the beginning of the Cold War, you might want to pay attention to this one. All right. This is a theme that's going to extend itself really through the entirety of the conflict. But the topic that I'm talking about is the beginning of the Cold War, right? After the Potsdam Conference, when it's very clear that there is a brewing conflict between the Soviet Union and the United States, Stalin begins to peel away parts of Eastern Europe. It's called salami tactics. He's slowly chipping away at these Eastern European states and incorporating them into the Soviet Union under the Soviet flag, right? Very quickly, as these states are incorporated, we see their standard of living take a huge decrease. Okay. So the way that I examine this in my class is I do a scale and I weigh war or butter. Is that state going to provide war stuff for itself, or is it going to provide butter, quality of life goods for the civilians? All right. We learn very early on that the Soviet Union doesn't have the economic capacity to keep up with the United States. All right. As you're going to learn, the Cold War takes on a very military aspect. The arms race, the space race, all of these things cost a lot of money. So when the Soviet Union and our balancing, right, this is war stuff, this is butter stuff, as the Soviet Union needs to make more war stuff, that scale is going to drop dramatically for the standard of living of the people inside of Eastern Europe. Whereas in the United States, if they want to focus on war stuff, the scale never really falls that far out of balance because they have so much economic output and so much industrial capability, right? The military industrial complex and all that stuff. So when you're examining the Cold War, you need to examine that economic component of it. The fact that the quality of life is so bad inside the Soviet Union, and the quality of life never really gets that bad in the United States. And when it does in the United States, the people are allowed to protest. They dissent against what the government is doing, and then they have to get that scale a little bit more in balance to quell the protest. That's something that can't happen in the Soviet Union, especially under Joseph Stalin and his iron fist rule. So if you're examining the early part of the Cold War, remember the scale, war stuff, butter, and always lean it back to the economy. Hope that helped. Be good.